The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser cut dice towers, tokens, and more, developed by a gamer for gamers, and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. And by SD Way Gaming, where dice goblins unite. Our friends at SD Way Gaming celebrate the beautiful dice players handpick for their games and splendor. SD Way Gaming has expanded to include many tabletop gaming varieties, accessories, and similar fun necessities to include a service for your dice addiction. You can shop for a variety of products at sdwaygaming.com or find SD Way Gaming on Facebook. Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Elias Stone, a human cleric.
I'm Connor Shenold. I play Sable, a half-elf rogue.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play August E. Graymore, a human fighter.
I'm Carrie Hester, and I play Moxie, a tiefling bard.
And I'm Brooke Bullock, your DM. Please join us as we explore the curse of the Clockwork City. Across Ironspire, we have seen a soldier safely deliver his caravan customers to the city gates. A priest finding the divine calling for why they were brought to the city. We have seen a young lady fulfilling the mission of her mentor of the siren song, keeping others safe. And now we turn across the city to a figure that helped in that alleyway fight, Sable. And where do we find Sable at in this late afternoon?
You find me deep in the guild halls of the Sapphire Society. I'm walking at a brisk pace, and I nod my head to a few other Sapphire Society members that walk past, and they salute as I walk past. Eventually, my travels take me to a door marked with spider webbings. I give a gentle rap to the door and wait for a response.
A stern voice from inside says, "Come in."
Turn the handle, opening the door, stepping inside, and quickly shutting the door behind me. Walking in, I see a dark, lit room with some bookshelves along the back wall, lit by a few torches. Pretty dark for the afternoon. And as I approach the desk, I give a salute. Minthra, I've come with
You're late.
I apologize, Minthra. I have come with...
Do you have the payment?
I have the payment, and I've got information.
Oh.
I will reach into my belt and place the bag of gold on the table.
And behind the table is a female drow, very stern and authoritative looking. She's wearing garments that are of like a Victorian style, with the frill of the collar goes all the way up to just underneath her chin, long sleeves with a little touch of flare at the wrists. Perhaps would be mistaken for a noblewoman, except on this dress we have a couple of daggers laying right alongside the rib on the outside, obviously within easy reach. Her silvery white hair pulled up in a tight bun atop her head, and in her hand, tapping it slightly into the palm of her other hand, she has a wand.
There's the gold from the siren song, and while I was there, we hindered the process of 2 kids about to be kidnapped.
Finally, we have something.
Yes, finally. I thought the night would end in a failure and me having to charge the Siren Song for extra gold, but with the owner's help, we learned that someone by the name of Boo has been taking these children.
Boo. First off, you care too much about that Moxie girl. You shouldn't have given her a break. She didn't have the info until you arrived. Try to do better next time.
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, tell me about the perpetrators. Couple of kobolds, I assume.
These were human males.
Humans.
Yes. They tried to capture 2 children, a young girl and a young boy. I believe the young boy's name was Deke.
You see her ruffling through some papers on the desk for a moment. No, our information says the kobolds are involved. Those little rats are everywhere in this city.
This was definitely 2 human males, ma'am.
Well, bring them in for questioning. Where do you have them tied up at?
They were killed.
Sable, listen, we've talked about this. You're really good at what you do, but you've got to learn not to go for the heart every time.
We already learned who their leader was. I was going to capture the second one.
Right? Just leave one alive.
Like you always taught me. Someone shot him, and they left this behind. I will pull out the 2 of clubs playing card. They were on the roof of the Siren Song, ma'am, and they shot him across my shoulder.
And you see Minthra Thorn lean back in her chair. She's holding this wand at each tip, and she gently rocks back and forth, looking at the card laying on the desk. She hasn't touched it since you laid it down.
I believe this is the calling card of Bacarte.
I know who it's from. What did he look like? What did you see? How far away was he? Where'd he go?
On top of the Siren Song, I saw a shadowy figure. I couldn't get more information than that.
All in black, I assume?
All in black.
With a crossbow, you say?
Yes.
That's new.
But Minthra, he hasn't been seen around here since 200 years ago. What is this?
Oh, that's when the stories of Baccarat start. 200 years ago. It's probably been 5 years since we've seen him in the city. He's helpful at times, yes, but most of the time he just messes up long-standing plans that we've almost had fruition.
Yeah, he took my kill. I mean, my capture, my prisoner.
Exactly. She pauses for a long moment. You can see the gears processing. And I imagine when you came back around the corner, the bodies were gone.
I foolishly thought that was the Sapphire Society.
No, you were our agent there. Cleaning his tracks, never alerting the authorities, or when he does, vexing them. We can't figure out who he is or what he is. It's highly unlikely creature that lives for 200 years.
I mean, we do better around the city than the guards do. Why would he report to the guards?
You never know. He's an unknown. He's a variable. We have to keep things in order. We have to keep things under control. Sable, because of his involvement, I'm not sure that we can dedicate any society resources to this investigation at this time. We don't know what he knows. We don't know what he's going to strike with next. We certainly don't want him to start engaging with our people. I want you to find out more about these missing children. I want you to find out where they came from. You said that they some type of escape?
Yes, Moxie at the Siren Song, I left them in her care.
Oh, that's soft-hearted.
If anybody was going to take care of children, it was going to be her.
I know. But now, you've got to get them away from her so that we can find out what's going on with them.
And no Sapphire Society resources?
No, we just can't risk it until we know what Baccarat is up to again.
All right.
You're going to have to build a team. In fact, I'm putting you in charge. I want you to build a team. I want you to find a way to investigate these missing children and then bring it back to us. The best thing would be for these 2 children to be brought to us directly for questioning. But don't blow your cover, obviously, with the Moxie girl. If they have to stay there and you just have to take good notes, that's fine. Do you have any idea who you might be able to use? Oh, you're thinking of the Moxie girl.
She already knows half of it. She doesn't have to know the entire thing. And she's a good asset to have on this plan. She will mind the children while I find the information.
Now you're thinking I want you to do whatever you need to do to manipulate her into helping us. Let her feel like she's doing something for the good of the people or whatever it is. Those ideas of philanthropy that she gets in her head. You're going to need somebody who can deal out some major damage, somebody that you can put in front of you, someone that you're going to be able to take the hits, some mercenary.
All right. Any other suggestions?
It's obviously going to be bloodshed involved. You probably need some type of healer. I don't know where you'll find that at.
Yes, ma'am. A damage dealer and some sort of healer.
Mundane, if you can. That would be even better, because I don't know that any of the temples here can be trusted without raising an alarm about goodness and mercy.
I feel ya. All right. What's the deadline?
I'm going to leave this one open. I expect some news within a week. It would be wonderful if that news was, we're finished. But I understand these things take time, especially with children. And then you see it is a softening slightly, but more so of the edgy, frustrated anger that is been swirling around them. That fades just a tiny bit. The severity's still there. There's not compassion that comes on, but that edge of anger softens just a bit. And she says, don't have any resources for you, but here. And she pulls open a desk drawer, brings out a small vial, and hands it to you.
I'll take it from her.
It's emergency healing. I don't want my only apprentice to get himself killed by some kobold somewhere, or humans, or whoever's involved. It's for you, no one else.
A childish grin creeps up my face, and I knew you had a heart, Minthra.
And it's a standard healing potion.
All right, ma'am. I will drop off my uniform and my quarters and head out.
Very good. Yeah, nothing that will associate you with the Sapphire Society.
None whatsoever.
Well, what are you still sitting here for? Go, I gave you orders.
Yes, ma'am. And he kind of gives a flourish of a bow. Still respectful, but kind of messing around with her, and I quickly exit the room.
Sable leaves the secrecy of the Sapphire Society Guild headquarters, and one of its district captains, Minthra Thorn. The later evening has us at the Siren Song, with drinks being served, with a conversation amongst orphans, and that is where we pick up our story again.
I imagine roughly this is when Arya would come around with Dr. Stone's stew. Moxie would just look at her and say, if you could do me a favor and just cut them off. They're done. They're getting a little rowdy, and I know his wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Moxie will take the tray out of her hands, put it down at the table on the opposite side of the booth from the children, and let Dr. Stone have a seat and slide in while she's standing with not necessarily her back to the booth, but like her back kind of to the stage, because I imagine they're kind of in that far booth, so she can keep an eye on things. As the evening progresses, it's definitely getting more quiet, especially once Arya kicks those guys out for not necessarily being in trouble, just being a little drunk. And it gets pretty quiet in the Siren Song.
Are we all sitting at the table with the kids?
I mean, I'm standing next to the table, but yeah.
August, are you still at the bar, or at some point did you follow Elias over to
I came over with him and
Very good.
am sitting at the table that you set everything on.
So, Elasa, Deke, what do you remember about this fishery?
Well, they make you work. And Deke says, the night kids go on special missions. The street kids, they have to bring stuff back or they get beaten. But we were the day kids. We had to work the pots.
Doesn't people miss you if you're sitting down there at the... Why don't you just escape?
Oh, no way. You can't.
Why not?
Well, Boo is always watching. And then in the room with us is just the one. They pause for a second, kind of look up at you like, don't know if you'll believe this or not. There's Giggles. We just call him Giggles. I don't know what his name is, but he beats kids. Sometimes he just beats them when you don't think you're working hard enough. And he beats you, and then he laughs about it. So I just called him Giggles.
So Boo is a half-orc, is what you said.
Yeah.
And do you know what Giggles is?
Giggles is, And then Elisa says, I think he's full orc. His teeth are a lot bigger. He's a lot bigger.
And you talk to these kids. Are they all from the orphanage, or where do they all come from?
You don't get to talk much. Talking will get you beat too.
Oh, well, yeah, well, that makes sense, yeah.
But you can whisper some things at night. We weren't there for very long.
You said they have you go out and get things and bring them back. What sort of things?
Yeah, that's the street kids. They bring back whatever they can find, I think.
Nothing specific, just whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah, sometimes if they bring, I don't know what, but sometimes if they bring back something that they like, then they get a treat.
I see. A petty. When you were there, I know it was dark and it was scary. Did you ever see a kobold? What looked like a small lizard type person? Did you ever see anyone like that?
And they look at each other. No.
So you didn't speak with any of the kids to find out where they were from, besides the ones who were from the orphanage?
You could whisper a little bit at night, not much. And they didn't have it as good as we did. They were just from the streets.
How does Boo decide who was a day shifter and who's a night shifter?
It's something about how good you are, like how good of a work you are. Some of the street kids, they actually let them take a bath before they go out.
How did you, so big and brave as you are, how did you manage to get away?
We dropped down under the floor and crawled upside down between the floor and the bay.
Oh, is this in that fishery? The one over the water?
Yeah, there's a whole line of them.
Do you think that if I brought you a little map, that you could tell me which fishery we should look at?
I could do it.
There you go. Be a good boy and do that for me.
Okay.
And she gives him like a napkin and a pen.
And Deke draws the most kid of kids maps. Like it is a 6-year-old has drawn the map. The fishery is half the page. And then there are like little planks for the docks. And then there's a couple little tiny buildings that are drawn there too. Then he draws a line and draws a line and draws a line and then turns the page over and draws a line and then draws another square and says, "This is us."
Oh, well, so it's like 4 blocks away.
But Tomas and Lila are still there.
Yeah.
Could you describe what they look like, what they were wearing?
And Deke says, Lila's my sister, or at least we call each other brother and sister because she has hair the same color as I do. Auburn. And her eyes are really green. And Elisa says, and she's trouble. She loves to, not on purpose, but they're always having to yell at her and stuff at the orphanage.
What about Tomas?
Tomas, he's tall, but he's not much older than I am, Elisa says. His hair is really dark and really shaggy. Just hangs all over his face. He's really quiet, and maybe because of that, he's sneaky.
When do they seem the busiest there? Morning, evening, afternoon, late at night? Does it seem to everything's kind of slows down late at night while the night kids are out and the day kids are sleeping?
Things get real quiet at night.
Is that the time that you snuck out?
Yeah, we waited till way. I mean, like, we'd never been up that late before.
I'll tell you what, if you think of anything else, you let us know, right?
Okay.
In the meantime, why don't you guys go to bed, and we'll get you back to the orphanage tomorrow morning.
Okay. And they start to leave, maybe go into an upstairs room or something.
Yeah, they're just gonna go up to Rhapsody's apartment. We'll just keep them on the second
And
floor.
they get kind of across the way, or maybe they start to climb the stairs or whatever. Deke suddenly turns around and goes, "The sharks! If you sneak in, underneath you gotta keep your feet up because of the sharks."
I'm not much for sneaking. One more question before you go. And you could see August is sort of wrought with pain of like almost like a memory or a thought. Did you ever, or did any of you ever tell the guards or see any of them?
Tell the guards?
Yes, that you have been taken. You were being mistreated.
Oh, you mean like city guards?
Yes.
We didn't find any. I mean, we got away, and then we came right here, and we didn't see anybody else. It was just Moxie and her friend.
Have we found out how long they were at the fishery?
3 weeks.
And the whole time you were there, though, you never saw a guard? A city guard walking by on patrol? Or...
Oh, they don't let us look at the windows. You get beat for that.
Very good. When you come down in the morning for breakfast, I hear they make an excellent orc egg omelet.
The big ones?
The biggest.
Really? Deke looks over at Moxie from wherever she might be across the way or whatever.
Yeah, I'll find you some eggs, bud.
All right. And he scurries back up the stairs from the halfway point that he came running back down and follows Arya and Elisa.
Well, I guess what are you doing? It's really hard to get orc eggs right now.
So what are you thinking?
Hold that thought. And I will actually go out the window with the plan of seeing if there is a street urchin about. And I imagine if Sable wanted to be walking up the street at that point in time, that'd be really convenient for us.
Yeah, you see a cloaked individual with their hood up, and after a moment, they step into the spotlight, and you do see what you can make out of Sable's features from underneath the hood.
Oh, just the Mysterioso I was looking for, and you're not on duty. I could really use your help with something.
Oh, I was about to come ask you the same.
I ain't got any more gold. You took it all.
I'm not here on official business, you know that. I don't come around here otherwise.
Well, get in here. We've got someone new for you to meet.
Those kids of yours doing okay?
Oh, yeah. You know, Deke won't shut up about some sharks. He's really into sharks right now. Coincidentally, we did find out who they belong to. That seems like an odd thing to say.
Well, that's good. I didn't know what else to get him, but here you go, and I pull out 2, toy figurines for you.
Oh, they'll love these. Well, Deke will. Eliza may think she thinks she's old now.
They try to grow up so fast.
You know, what you escape from one traumatizing experience, and you think you're a preteen. Moxie will turn to the rest of the bar and say, "We're closing early, folks. Sorry, we got a little bit of a family emergency. Come in tomorrow. You can get half a drink on me." Now it's just us. I don't have any other staff right now, just Aria, so.
So since I see those figurines going up, I take my figurine that I had and I lovingly put it back in my special slot in my backpack.
So, Mox, you find out anything else?
These kids, they're from the fishery. The one around the corner, the kind of sketchy one, apparently there's also some sharks underneath. They and a bunch of other kiddos are being kept and worked just to the bone. And the day shift kids, they're working on these fish, which explains why Deke smelled so bad.
He really did.
I mean, children smell varying degrees of gross, but that was another level anyway. He's had a couple of baths and it's almost gone. But they were over at the fishery. They weren't allowed to look out windows. They were getting beat up if they smiled too much. They were working for this fellow named Boo, which makes sense because that's the guy, right? And there was another guy called Giggles that seems like a bit of a psychopath.
Boo and Giggles?
I know. They ain't good criminal names. They're clearly not professionals.
Are they clowns?
That's what I thought too. He said that Boo is a half-orc and that Giggles is an orc, so maybe they're brothers?
Maybe.
Either way, they were beating up the kids. There's also a group of kids that are the night shift, and they go out, and sometimes they get baths. So I think that they're using the night kids to pickpocket and other things. You see that around here. There are 2 children named Tomas and Lila, and they, as well as Deke and Eliza here, they belong to the orphanage over on 2nd Street.
The illuminated light?
Yeah. Coincidentally, this guy over there in the corner with the coat with no sleeves, he is also from that same temple.
Oh.
And August is just here.
I think I've seen you in passing.
Yes.
Well, are we in on this all together?
You can keep me away from it.
Well, what do you mean? We're just gonna
We're gonna go help some kids, Mox.
The city is corrupt. Someone has to help them.
I just got my nails done. I don't wanna.
You stand in the back, Mox, and look pretty.
You could be our support.
You don't have to go, but you're already in it.
I am already in, and it sounds like there's a bunch of kids that need a bunch of homes. So the good news for us is that it's about, and then I assume a temple from a few blocks away probably chimes. Oh, great. That's when they said, shift changes are happening. We might be able to get in. The question is, are we trying to just go in proverbial guns a-blazing, or are we trying to go in and scoop some kids, Krampus style?
Well, your friends don't look like they're the sneaking sort.
I prefer a more direct approach.
I get that read from you.
Good. It's good to know who you're with.
What about you, sir?
Oh, I don't sneak either, but I certainly can help out in any way if any of you get hurt. That's what I do best is...
You're a bit old to be traveling around, aren't you?
Respect your elders.
My apologies.
I'm only as old as the people you hang around with. Certainly you're young enough to make me feel young too.
Moxie, you seemed hesitant, but when you're behind that bar and you're slinging those bottles and that burst of fire and a crowd Do you not feel that right here? And he beats his chest.
I mean, I've roughed up a guy or two, but I've never freed an entire group of children from a fishery.
Moxie, let's go rough up a guy or two and free children from a fishery. Are you with us?
She will go back behind the bar and make 4 shots. But if we're gonna go up against some psychopath named Giggles, we need a little giggle juice.
I take it up and I say, well, if we're going to fight some sharks, I think it's a good idea to have a drink. Slam it back.
The city is corrupt, and I'll take a shot.
To the children.
And then I will just, hey Aria, I'm going out, lock up behind me. Do a little sweeping, but I'll do the dishes when I get back. Don't worry about it. You worked hard today.
Yes, let me grab my stuff. And I go behind the bar, and I lean down behind it, and I pick up the halberd. I lean it up against it, and I pull the gloves off of my belt, close my eyes and take a deep breath, and then put them on one by one, tight and snug. Pick up the halberd, walk to the door, and stand at attention almost if I'm guarding it. Then let us go.
Red Dirt D&D Curse of the Clockwork City is Brooke Bullock as our Dungeon Master, Kiri Hester as Moxie, Connor Shenold as Sable, Johnny Payne as August E. Graymore, and I'm Michael Cross as Dr. Elias Stone. Our theme music comes from Ovani Sound. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of Jeffrey McBride, Monument Studios, Describe.com, and TabletopAudio.com. Dice for the Red Dirt D&D cast provided by ST Way Gaming. You can find us at RedDirtDnD.com. If you are enjoying Red Dirt D&D, make sure to subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D. You can also support the show at patreon.com/RedDirtDnD at whatever giving level works best for you. Join us next time as we discover more secrets in the Clockwork City.